Alright, y'all, so today we're talking about a brand new topic for you. And it's super, super important because you will literally be using it for the rest of your life in math for forever. Okay?
Is it hard?
No, it's super easy. Okay? So it's called, exactly, you don't gotta worry about it. You just gotta know how to do it. Okay? It's called function notation. Alright? So it's just a different way for them to write functions for you. Okay? So up until now, we've seen functions written like this, right? Our rule is 2x plus 3. So you know that you take every x value, multiply by 2, add 3, then you get your y value, right? All that's new today is they're switching out that y with the f of x. That's how you read this right here. So that f parenthesis x parentheses, that means f of x. So that's saying the function when you plug x into it, okay? So if you just had to take a wild guess, what do you think this might be?
1 F1.
F of 1. So instead of plugging x into your function, what do you think you're plugging into your function? Exactly. That's all it is. Is that okay? Okay, well, let's try it. So I think it's a little bit confusing sometimes when you get really long functions because there's a bunch of places that you have to plug in an x. So everywhere there's an x, you've got to plug in that number, whatever it may be. So I'm going to highlight where we are plugging that number in. So for us, it's just in one place, so it shouldn't be too bad. So if we're trying to find f of 1, our function rule is 2x plus 3. So we're still going to have 2 times x, but what are we putting in place of x this time? 1. So in parentheses, I'm going to put 1. Then we're going to finish our rule, which was plus 3. Are we okay so far?
We're doing great.
Yeah? Is everybody doing great or just Hunter?
What?
Good? Okay.
Yeah.
So 2 times 1, what do you get?
2.
And what's 2 plus 3? So this whole thing is 5. So what you might see written is f of 1 equals 5. All that means is when I plug in a 1 for x, I get a 5 out. So we should be facing front. I'm not sure why you're trying to run. All the way. All the way around.
It's not working.
Turn all the way around. So for number 2, what are we going to be putting in of x this time? -4. So you're going to have 2 still. 2 times whatever x was. And x for us is now -4 plus 3. So what is 2 times -4?
-8.
And what's -8 plus 3? -5. So f of -4 equals -5. So again, that just means when we plug in -4 to our function, we get -5 out. We still okay? All right. So up at the top, we said that f of x means the same thing as y. So for the next part, they want us to find x if f of x equals 19. So they're not giving us a value to plug in for x this time. They're telling you what y equals. So you're setting your function rule equal to that value. So instead of plugging in 19, we're going to say 19 equals 2x plus 3. And we want to see what x is this time. Do we see the difference between these two? So like in this one, x was replaced. And this one, it's not. So you set it equal to that value and solve for x. We're trying to find x. So what are the steps that we need to take to do that?
Subtract 3.
-3. So 19 minus 3 gives us what? So 16 equals 2x in our last step. And 16 divided by 2 gives you what?
8.
Is that okay? Questions? Alright, so for number 4, we need to find x again if f of x equals -9. So they're telling you what the function equals. So we can say -9 equals our function, which was 2x plus 3. And we need to solve, so we're taking the same steps again. What do we do first? So -9 minus 3, what do you get? So -12 equals 2x. And what do we do from there? Yeah, you divide by 2, so you'll get -6 equals x. Is that okay? Do you have the notes? You still need them. But you still need the notes. So far, are we all right? All right. So for the next one, we're given two functions now. So have we seen anything like this one before?
Oh, no.
No? Okay, so what they typically do. Sure. 100 more. So what they typically do, y'all, is if you've got more than one function, they just use different letters in front of it. So like f of x they'll use for the first one. Then if you have another one, they'll call it g of x. If you have another one, what do you think they might call it? What comes after g? H of x, yeah? They typically don't do I of x because that's really weird and it looks like a 1. But they can use any letter in front of it that they want. Most of the time it's going to be f and g, okay? So really, I think y'all could do f of 0 right now on your own, couldn't you?
Yeah, no, actually no.
It's a 0.
All right, so for your f function, looking at your f function, so inside parentheses, we're going to write -5, and then we're going to square it, plus 7. Why are we having our own conversations? That's what I want to know. So what is -5 squared? It was 25 plus 7.
32.
So this whole thing is 32. Why is it not -25? I heard somebody say -25.
-5 times -5.
Yeah, it is -5 times -5. It's not 5 squared with a negative outside, right? So it would be different if it was written like this, right? If that negative was outside your parentheses, then it would be -25, but because it's inside, it's not. So you got to be really careful with those. Questions on that one? Let's do number 3. So that's using your g function again, but what are we replacing x with? The 2, right? Do we see how they're just switching out the x with whatever's inside parentheses? Yeah? So you're going to have 2 in parentheses, square it, then add 7. So what is 2 squared?
4.
And what's 4 plus 7?
13. Oh, yeah. Sorry.
That okay? Questions? So we'll do number 2 because it's a little bit different. So for number 2, it says f of 2 plus 4. So we're going to find what f of 2 is, and then what do you think we're going to do to our answer?
Well, add it by 4. We go plus 4 to it.
Exactly. So we need to find f of 2 first. So we're going to be using our f function, and what are we plugging in place of x? 2. So we'll have 1/2 times 2 minus 1. That's our f function, yes? Then what does it want us to do after that? So I'm going to just say plus 4. Are we okay with where all that stuff's coming from? Yeah? So what's 1/2 times 2? 1. And what's 1 minus 1?
0.
and 0 plus 4. So your final answer is 4. Questions there? Alright. So looking at number 4, same idea. This time, which function are we using? Your g function. So we need to find g of negative 1. And then what are we going to do to the answer?
Add 7. Square it. And add 7.
We're going to find g of negative 1.
Yeah.
And then do what? Subtract 7.
So,
Okay, so we're going to plug a negative 1 into g. So everywhere there's an x, we're putting a negative 1. So we've got negative 1 squared plus 7. And then what does it want us to do after we find g of 1? Minus 7. Is that okay? So what is negative 1 squared? 1 plus 7 minus 7. 1. Questions on that? So for the last one, what are we putting in place of x?
X plus 3.
X plus 3. So can we do that? Yeah, so you're just switching it out. So in front, you're still going to have 1/2. But in place of x, what are we putting? X plus 3. All of that's going in place of x. And then we still have the minus 1 from our original function up there. Do you think we can do anything to simplify?
You could distribute.
We could distribute. So what's 1/2 times x? 1/2 x. 1/2 times 3? 1.5? Or 3 over 2? Anything else we can do to simplify?
No, yeah. Minus 1.
So what's 1.5 minus 1?
Half.
And that would be our final answer. You couldn't take it any further. Is that okay? Do we have any questions? So can y'all do the next section on your own?
yeah.
Can we try it?
Can we do it?
Can we do what?
Can we do it at the final?
You can talk to the people at your table. Okay? So try the next section on your own. Talk to people at your table. If y'all still can't figure it out, let me know and I'll come help you. Alright, so for number 1, we're doing f of 1. So in place of in place of x, what are you putting?
1.
Oh, 1. So we're using that f function. So you have negative 5 times what? 1 minus 1. So negative 5 times 1 gives you what? Minus 1 gives you negative 6. Good. Do we need to go through how to do all these? Can we just say what the answer is for these two at least? What do we get for number 2?
28.
Does anybody need to see that? If you do, it's okay. You can say something and it's fine. So that one was 28. And then for number 3, we got 9. Does everybody agree? Anybody need to see that worked out? Alright, so for number 4, I definitely do want to do that one together because it's got that plus 3 at the end. So you need to find g of negative 1 first. And then what are you going to do to your answer?
Negative 1.
Find g of negative 1 first. And then what do you do to your answer?
Oh, add 3.
Add 3.
I thought you was on 2.
Oh, no, sorry. So we're looking at our g function. In place of x, what are we putting? Negative 1. So we've got negative 1 cubed plus 1. And then what does it want us to do after that? Add 3. Is that okay? So what is negative 1 cubed? Do we know how to get there? Negative 1 times negative 1 gives you what? Positive 1 times negative 1 again.
Negative 1.
Negative 1. So you've got negative 1 plus 1 plus 3. So negative 1 plus 1 is what?
0.
And 0 plus 3?
3.
3. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Questions? Alright, so last one, number 5. You're plugging in x minus 4 in place of x for your f function. So you're still going to have a negative 5 out front. But in place of x, what are we putting?
X minus.
X minus 4. And then we have a minus 1 to finish out our function.
So negative 5 plus 20.
But what do we do with all this? How do we simplify? Distribute. What's negative 5 times x?
Negative 5x.
And negative 5 times negative 4? Can we do anything else?
You can 20 start.
And what is 20 minus 1?
19.
So you've got negative 5x plus 19 as your final answer there. Questions on any of that? So we're okay? Yes, no, maybe? Alright, so for number 1 on the next section, we're talking about domain and range this time. So just to jog our memory, what is domain referring to? Your x values. What is range talking about? Your y values. But what does y also mean now? F of x. Yeah? Let me put that so straight. So they're giving you a function. Why is this so crooked? They're giving you a function. We've got negative 4x squared plus 3. They're giving you a domain. So in this domain, what is all that? They're x's. So they're giving you a bunch of x's, and they want to know the range that's going to go along with that. So how do you think we could find it? We want to find the y's that match with these x's. Exactly. We did that already. We just didn't have function notation for it. Do y'all remember on the notes day before yesterday at the very, very end how we had those tables? It was like a table. It looked like this. Blah, 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 blah. And you had like 1, 2, 3, and you had to plug in 1, and then you wrote your answer for y. That's what we're doing, y'all. Whoa, mind blown. You've been doing this for days and didn't even know it. Okay, so same idea. So we're going to plug in negative 2 first. So I'm going to write it out like in function notation what we're finding. So if we're finding f of negative 2, in place of x, what am I putting? Negative 2. So we have negative 4, parentheses, instead of x, we're writing negative 2 squared plus 3. That all right? Yes, no, maybe? So what is negative 2 squared? 4. And what's negative 4 times positive 4? Negative 16 plus 3. There we go. So f of negative 2 is negative 13. Are we done? What do we still need to find? We're done with that one. We got to find the range for all of these values. So what do you need to find next? We did f of negative 2. What else do we need to find? F of 0. What else?
2.
F of positive 2. What else?
4.
F of 4. It is a lot. I want you to do that right now on your own. I'm going to have MJ do f of 0, Maria's going to do f of 2, and Jaden's going to do f of 4. Okay? So when she gets your answers, I want y'all to come do it on the board over here for me, okay? Golly, I'm going to fall on something. All these stupid cords. So everybody should be doing all 3 of these, not just the people that I called on. You gotta check your answer. You're finding f of 0, f of 2, and f of 4. sorry?
You were supposed to.
This is the third week of school. Nope. We got a long way to go. I'm bored. So MJ and Jaden, whenever you get done, I need y'all to put them number 2. No pressure. You got it. Can you write F of whatever you're finding? F of 2. Right like F of 2. Yeah. Thank you. Huh? Nope. F of 0. Number 1. Yep, you can go down there if you want. I do. Yes, so Lee? On the board.
No.
Do we have any questions on those, y'all? So they showed their work, so if you messed up, you should be able to look and see where you went wrong. So when we write our final answer, they gave it to us in this list, so we want to give our answer in a list as well. So you'll have negative 13, 3, negative 13 again, so we won't write it again, and negative 61. Is that okay? Questions on that one? Okay, great. So number 2 down here is the exact same thing. So you should be able to do it no problem because it's an easier function. Yeah? Yep, I'm going to pick people to do that. So, right now, I just want you to do all those. So you need to be finding, what's the first thing you should find? F of what?
-3.
What else do you need to find?
F of -1. F of 0. F of 1. And F of 2. Can I do it?
F of 2. I just pulled all the numbers from here and just said F of those numbers.
This is like, I don't need all of these.
Your answers are on the board. So for F of -3, what did we get? Evan, for F of -3, what did we get?
Negative 13.
Negative 13. Y'all agree or disagree?
Agree.
Agree. Yeah, negative 13 is correct. For F of -1, Peyton, what'd you get? -9. Y'all agree or disagree? You should agree because she's correct. If you got something else, you're wrong. For F of 0, Brianna, what did we get? -7. Y'all agree or disagree? Good. For F of 1, Michaela, what did we get?
-5.
-5. Y'all agree or disagree?
Agree.
Agree. Good. She's right. And then for Zach, the last one, F of 2. Negative 3. Are we good?
Yeah.
Questions on any of that?
Can I race them?
Not yet. How do we write? It's fine. How do we write our answer? How do we write our answer? Negative 13. What do we get for the other ones? I didn't write them down. Then it was what? 9? Was it negative 5?
Negative 5.
And then negative 3. Are we okay with those? Yes, no, maybe? Good? Maybe? Alright. Good. So the next ones are a little bit different. They want you to find the value of x. So that phrase right there, find the value of x or find x, tells you that you're going to be setting up an equation to solve. So we're not just plugging numbers in, but we're setting it equal to something and solving. Matt, I need you in your assigned seat. Matt, in your assigned seat. So they tell us that f of x equals 21. And your function is 3x plus 4. Any idea how we might set this up? Three x plus 4 equals what? What did they tell you that your function equals? 21. Is that okay? Then you solve. How are we going to do that? Minus 4. What's 21 minus 4? 17. And then what's our last step? So x equals 17 over 3. And that's our final answer. Is that okay? Yes, no, maybe? Alright, so looking at number 2. This time they say to find the value of x. So what does that tell you need to be doing? Are we plugging in or are we solving? Solving. So anytime you see find x, you are solving. It says that f of x equals 13. And your function is x squared minus 3. So how are we going to set it up?
So we need to put in 13 for x.
Is that what it says to do?
X squared minus 3.
It sets them equal to each other. Look, it says f of x equals 13. Then it says f of x also equals x squared minus 3. So we could just set them equal to each other. Remember f of x equals y, right?
Yeah.
F of x is y. So this is saying y is 13. Y is also x squared minus 3. So set those things equal to each other and solve.
So 13 is okay, so x squared.
Yep. When do we go plug in numbers in? How's it going to write it when you plug numbers in for x? Instead of it saying f of x equals 13, what would it say? F of 13, yeah? So it would write it like this instead of saying f of x equals. Yeah? Does that make sense? Kinda. What would we need to do to start solving here? Add 3. So x squared equals what? 16. How did somebody said x equals 4? How do we get that?
Square.
You take what?
Do the opposite of square root of 6 times.
Square root it. So we get, is it just positive 4 or could you also get negative 4?
Positive.
But does negative 4 times negative 4 still give you positive 16?
Yes.
So your answer could be positive 4 or negative 4 there. So we'll say plus or minus 4. So you could get 2 values of x for that.
So, like, if you put negative 4, that also is right.
Any other questions on that one? So the next one, it says again, find the value of x. So are you plugging in or are you solving an equation? Solving an equation. It says that f of x equals negative 20 if f of x equals 7x minus 6. So how are you going to set it up?
7x minus 6.
Exactly. Set those two equal to each other and solve. So 7x minus 6 equals negative 20. Solve that. See if you can do it on your own.
Did you say equals negative 20?
Carrie did that yesterday.
Yeah, but.
That's not mine.
Yeah, well.
It's all on you. Okay, we just check it on here. Do we
Or
check
online. Whatever's easiest.
Oh, and then turn those off.
Like on your, there's a tab for yoga. Just go right. Whatever's easiest. Just go in there, just get back to me and I'll tell you.
Okay, thank you.
I got the first equation, but where we were, the second one, I was trying to figure that one out.
They say JK.
Ben, thank you. Okay. 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 All right.
It's easy. Can't see the freaking question.
Are we done with that one now?
I'll do it on the board. They said doctors.
Alright, y'all, so for this one right here, to get x by itself, what's our first step, Connor? What do we need to do?
Plus 3.
What? Oh, we're number 30.
Oh, plus 6.
There you go.
I was looking at it.
So what's negative 20 plus 6?
Negative 14.
Josh, what do we do from there? Yes, sir. Divide by 7. And what do we get, y'all? Questions on those, y'all? Are we okay? Yes, no, maybe? So I need you to stop talking so we can get through these last two. It really should not have taken us this long to get through all of this. So for the first one, it says that the sports boosters are selling pennants at the school football games to raise money for new uniforms. Each pennant sells for $2.25. Each pennant is $2.25. So how do you think we're going to write that?
225.
225x. What word tells you times there? Do you know? Each, exactly. So we got 225x. They sell for 225x. The equation up 225p. There it is. Models your situation. So I already wrote it for you. Where N is the total amount of money at a game and P is the number of pennants sold. So at Friday's game, the boosters sold 60 pennants. So how much money did they raise? Yeah, you're plugging in 60 for x, right? That's all. So we'll do 225 times 60, and that'll be our answer.
135.
Easy, right? That okay? Questions on that? So 135 is our final answer. It put P up here because you're talking about penance. So they just use P instead of X. Any other questions on that one before we move on? All right, last one. It says the recommended dosage, D, in milligrams of a certain medicine depends on a person's body mass, M, in kilograms. Your function, D equals 0.1 M squared plus 5M, represents that relationship. So what is the recommended dosage for a person whose mass is 60? How are we going to find that out? Plug in 60 for M, right? Because that's the mass. So you're doing the same thing. Just plug it in 60 for M. So we've got D equals 0.1 M squared plus 5M. Instead of M, though, what are we plugging in? 60. So 0.1 times 60 squared plus 5 times 60. Y'all, you can type that straight in your calculator. Exactly as we have it written. Parentheses and all. And that'll give you the answer you need there. So you should right now be doing what? Typing it in your calculator. What are we again? Awesome. Questions? So we're all good?
Yeah.
Wonderful.